I think the most important project that I have seen having undertaken over the last 6 years is the Madrasa Center of Excellence project. This project came about as a retreat we had in February 2011 in the city of Dubai, where Islamic scholars, madrasa teachers from over 95 institutions all over the world gathered. We had a 2-day of brainstorming session. And one of the questions which has stuck in my mind all the time, which came about, that we have been conducting Islamic teaching madrasa for 6 generations, for about 150 years. Is each of our succeeding generation a better community or not? One of the groups who were working on it came up with an answer: either we are the same or we got worse in our akhlaq. So people began to think, scholars began to think, where is the problem? Is the problem in tarbiyah, how we teach them and what we do with them? So based on that, we started working on MCE program, so that the idea was just not to impart knowledge, but at the same time build the level of God consciousness among our children.
We got experts from different areas and expertise as far as Madaris is concerned at Harbour near Milton Keynes for a 3-day retreat. We said if you want to establish a new curriculum, it's just not jumping in and developing notes and getting something robust out there. No, we need to take a step back and say, what do we want to achieve? What is the profile of that graduate of madrasa? What do we want to inculcate within them? What is the community telling us to do? In that deliberation in 3 days was born the Tarbiyah curriculum. This is where we defined 3 important dimensions of Tarbiyah. But before defining that, we first define the profile of a graduate. What do we want to eventually see a child developing to a young man or young woman living madrasa? What are the skill sets that we want to see within them? And there was overwhelming support to move towards a proposition that ultimately it is not ta'aleem and knowledge itself that is required. It is the nourishment and the tarbiyah and the practical manifestation of the iman that is important. Bombardment of knowledge is there, but the manifestation of that in akhlaq, in the character building of the individual, is what counts most. And this is why we decided that the madrasa curriculum will be called tarbiyah. And the 3 major features are: 1, it's integrated, which means we don't teach fiqh as fiqh, tariq as tariq, akhlaq as akhlaq. Everything is comprehensive. When I'm praying my salat, at the same time I'm inculcating my values. There's no point praying salat and then going out and doing dodgy businesses. It is a comprehensive nature that salat prevents you from such evils in society. So it was integration. So fiqh will be taught together with tariq, akhlaq, aqaid, and brought into perspective. I think that is a revolutionary stage as far as the tarbiyah is concerned. The second element we felt was important after the retreat was that it should be a Quranic worldview. Every lesson will start with the verse of the Quran. The Quran is the guide for mankind, hudan lil muttaqeen, but the Quran is expounded by the school of Ahlul Bayt Salamullah Ajmain. So that is a second important element as far as the curriculum is concerned. And the third element is it's a child-centered approach. Historically, the curricula have been teacher-centered approach. Teachers want to teach in this way, this is what they want to teach, they go ahead. This time we say, let's take a step back. What is the need of the child? How much can the child digest? What are the learning abilities of the child? What are the learning capabilities of the child? What is the pedagogy of the child? What are the modern methodologies used to inculcate and bring the child to love knowledge and education? And on top of that, the element of tarbiyah, which you will not find in Western academia or secular studies.
The art of teaching, or for that matter parenting, and being able to reach students and children with different learning styles is a challenging one. The Learning Resources Workstream of MCE, working closely with the Curriculum Workstream, will provide comprehensive resources for teachers, for parents, for students to supplement teaching and learning. While the Tarbiyah curriculum lays out the content of a lesson, Learning Resources supplements this content with either lesson-specific resources or with additional resources. These can be in the form of ideas for group activities, videos, PowerPoints, ideas for skits and debates, crosswords, word search, mind map, all aimed at encouraging mubahatha, discussions, or instilling analysis and critical thinking in our children in a fun-filled and engaging way, inshallah.
TSP stands for Teacher Skills Program. It deals with the skills of how to teach in the classroom. And I believe very strongly that whatever the curriculum, however beautiful the curriculum would be, if the teachers are not equipped well and skilled enough to impart the curriculum, then there is something we need to do more of. Between 2015 and 2016, roughly around 27 to 28 teacher skills programs have taken place in Europe and in Africa. That includes Reunion Islands and Madagascar. And around 700 to approximately 750 teachers have participated in this program so far. It is a mind-changing program. It is a mindset that needs to be changed. That the madrasa is not a place where just children are indoctrinated. Rather, they are given the tools to think for themselves and to believe very confidently as to what they are believing, and that they should come out of the madrasa with a confident attitude in regards to their religion and faith.
The very first thing we do is we train our lesson writers. Once the lesson writers are trained, we then discuss the lesson brief with them. They have their topic, and the lesson writers get together in a team to brainstorm that topic and to come up with all the different ideas that are going to go into that lesson. Once they have brainstormed the topic and they have looked at all the different sections that are going to go into that lesson, they create a mind map, which is then taken away by the lesson writer. The lesson writer then uses that mind map to create the first draft, which then comes to myself, I edit it, and then it goes to our editor, who then does the main edit of that lesson. So we look at all the verses of the Quran that we have used, all the ahadith that we have used. We make sure the language is age relevant. We make sure that all the concepts are age relevant as well. After the editing process, the lesson goes to the graphic designers, where they do the graphic design of the lesson. The lesson then goes to a qualified teacher who creates a teaching guide for that particular lesson. The designed lesson and the teaching guide then go to our scholars who review that lesson. Once the scholars have reviewed and signed off, then that lesson is ready.
My role has been to write the storybooks for the ages 4 to 7-year-old children. The storybook has 7 elements to it. The story, which also has an ayah or part of an ayah of the Quran. The next part is the Wow Wonderful Why section. And then we have a happy hadith section, we have the dua section, we have the comic bit, which we call either the adorable Ahlul Bayt section, or perfect personality, or amazing Anbiya. And then we have the time for rhyme section, and finally the power parenting section. Children relate well with stories, they can connect to the characters, and it's a nice unpreachy way of relaying a message, and they can take it home a little bit easier, and it's more fun and loving.
Training has impacted our madrasa significantly. There's a whole change in ethos, there's a change in the ways our teachers teach, the way we've operated the new curriculum. I feel that with the curriculum training, we managed to pass 100 of our teachers, and that has helped in rolling out of this curriculum so that the teachers feel equipped, and it's been really significant that the change in the way teachers are thinking at Hyder Islamic School. There have been amazing amount of wow moments. Some of the things that are so obvious is when people teachers understand how the Be Like Me spectacles are, and what it is, and how we unconsciously expect children in our classes to be just like us unconsciously and push them in ways. This whole appreciating difference has been such an wow moment, that when teachers come across this, it's amazing at how appreciating difference in our students and children amongst ourselves can help us build a stronger foundation in our madrasas.
So when I have to write a lesson, I get the topic from the team, from the admin, and I first look at the topic. I look at what age it's going to be, needs to be written for, and I assess my own knowledge to see whether I have enough knowledge about the subject or whether I will need to first research on that topic area a little bit more. And then I start finding resources, and the internet has been very helpful in that, especially websites like alislam.org. And I try and find the resources and begin to think how this material can be relevant to students in madrasa. I start by forming the learning outcomes, what I want to achieve from that lesson, what is the objective of that lesson, and then I start writing. A checklist is provided by the administration, and I have to make sure that all those key elements are in a lesson. So for example, each lesson has to start with a Quranic verse, because the Tarbiyah curriculum is Quran based. So a Quranic verse which is related to the topic. Each lesson has to have the lesson itself and a faith in action, how the students can implement immediately the subject matter that is taught in the lesson. There has to be a hadith related to the topic. There have to be questions related to the topic. The questions are for the average students, and then extra students for higher learning, so that any student who is able to know this stuff very quickly is then motivated with higher learning questions, which usually involves extra research on the part of the student, that the student can do independently.
As far as what I think about the impact of this curriculum on the children, teachers and the community in general is concerned, well, I think the long-term expectation is that this will bring about a generation of those who have a wholesome view of Islam as a living tradition. It wouldn't just be a process of learning Islam, rather it will be a process where they will feel proud of the Islamic tradition and live by the Islamic values.
The Tarbiyah curriculum is actually developed by very informed and very knowledgeable people, alhamdulillah, from the community, who have written different modules of this. My role is only to just go through it, review what is already written, which is of course much easier than writing, and in a sense I'm just giving it the finishing touch. I'm not doing the main job, I'm just giving the finishing touch to it.
Following the successful pilot introduction of some lessons from the Tarbiyah curriculum, thereafter we now went into the complete rollout of the curriculum for all the age bands across the madrasa.
We received a weekend course by Sayyid Ali Naqvi with the MCE course about the Tarbiyah curriculum. It was very interesting. It helped us to understand our roles and responsibility as a teacher and the effects that you can have on a student as a teacher as well. And they can be either good or bad, and obviously pushing us towards the good side of being a teacher.
The training that was delivered to the teachers for this new curriculum was a teaching based on implementing this new curriculum, just developing our teaching styles, and talking about how to appeal to different types of learning styles. And I think there is a greater acknowledgement now of the fact that different children do learn in different ways, and actually what these new lessons or what this new teaching style or this curriculum is trying to achieve is being able to appeal to those different learning styles within the classroom. And I think as a result we've found that students that were previously a bit harder to engage with are now being engaged more with the lessons with this new Tarbiyah curriculum, alhamdulillah.
In previous years I've been using similar teaching processes, however I feel like the Tarbiyah curriculum has actually brought in a new perspective into things, especially with the implementation and integration of the three traditional subjects. And it's really nice the way we can bring the three subjects together. As a teacher, it's a new experience to be able to teach those three subjects in one lesson.
We can incorporate different learning styles in order to engage as many students as possible, telling us sometimes that it's not often it's not always the students' fault if they're misbehaving or something's going wrong. Perhaps it's our approach as teachers that can change.
We don't have separate lessons now, it's all merged into like one lesson, so there'll be a bit of everything in the first and second lessons, and I think you can understand it a bit better because it's all in one, so it's very good.
Last year we didn't have forms and we didn't have learning objectives, and now we have them.
I find it really fun because there's activities to do and there's various things to do, and it's just a variety of things, and it makes it just really fun.
I find it really engaging, really useful, and if I don't understand things I can still look back through the book and learn at home.
I like the storybooks and activity books. I like the jobs we like to do, since it tells us a lot. It tells us a lot of information about things that some of us might not even know about.
My child is really happy with the new curriculum, and they find it really easy to follow, very clear, well laid out, well set out, and it's really, given them a lot of enthusiasm to carry on and do the lessons, and also do study at home as well.
I really enjoy them. My daughter Amana, she's in the Hilal class, and you can see that she's interacting more. She loves the storybooks, she loves the different activities and the workbooks, and as a parent I can then see how she's progressing as well from week to week.
I have seen the lessons. I have to say that once you open the book you get attached to it. I think Alhamdulillah, I would like to say thank you to the people who have developed it. It's for the younger children, the layout is particularly really important because that will keep them attracted to the book. I think it has been developed really well. It will help our children to develop a special relationship to the God, help them to follow the path of Ahlul Bayt.